Well, I do love a fireside chat. And when National Silver sponsor 8x8 proposed a fireside chat in spring, I was a little alarmed. But now I feel comfortable that we're in a safe environment and the weather in Sydney today is just rubbish. Um, and we can make it happen. Today, we'll be chatting by the warmth of the fire about the power of one unified platform. Brad, welcome. Let's get to know a little bit more about you because you currently hold the role of Director of Sales Engineering for APAC at 8x8. How about you tell us a little bit more about yourself?
Yeah, sure. So I'm pretty new to 8x8, 6 months last week in the current role with my current vendor. And I think in terms of how I got here, as a kid, I always wanted to be a sales engineer for a communications as a service company and, fulfilled my dreams. I actually got into contact centers actually doing Y2K compliance, if everyone remembers that. It was the last kind of disaster that was going to kill us all before COVID. Was doing Y2K compliance and they were putting in a contact center solution and a CRM and got talking to those guys and then moved on from Y2K compliance after we all survived. Started working for a systems integrator. That was 99, 2000. Was lucky enough to work for a couple of big software vendors from there in the contact center space, unified communication space. 6 months ago, made the move over to 8x8.
Fantastic. Well, now we know a little bit about you. So earlier on, you sent me a list of challenges, and I thought these were challenges that I needed to talk about. So I was slightly panicked, but then I reread the email and then worked out that it's you that's going to talk about them. So the first challenge that you listed was old legacy technology. Now, I hope you're not talking about me as old legacy technology.
No, not at all. And you know what? I was on a panel yesterday with a bunch of customers for one of our channel partners, and we were all talking. I'm kind of amazed that we're still, I guess, having these conversations, right? I thought we all moved to the cloud in some way or another, 10 years ago, 5 years ago at least. But today we're still seeing, I think it got accelerated with COVID. You used to get the old legacy PBX sitting in a back room closet pop up every now and then. With COVID, we've just seen a huge increase in those types of, critical situations, right? Everyone, basically picked up their laptops if they had a laptop, picked up a desktop and ran home and never to return. And I think what we've seen anyway is pretty quickly either that aging technology just wasn't up to scratch or it was running out of maintenance or it just wasn't capable of servicing that many remote users, right? It was potentially capable of it, but usually in a small pool, not the entire office. We're seeing, I guess, more and more these legacy displacements coming up now more than ever, which I thought we were kind of on the tail end of that, but it doesn't seem to be that way. That's definitely a big driver we've seen in sort of our business growth over the last 6 months.
Okay, so the number 2 on your list was disparate applications. What do you think about that as a challenge?
Yeah, look, I guess I've always had this, with the different vendors I've worked for, right, there's always been this, do you go best of breed and you get a whole bunch of point solutions, or do you try and go all in one and try and get someone that can give you as many of those disparate applications in one box from one vendor and, one throat to choke. Look, again, I see that more and more. And for us these days, it's either, I guess there's 2 problems that we always continually come up against. And it's, we're in there to replace one specific need right now. And there's a plan to grow into the rest of the applications that we offer in our suite. Or it's, they want an end-to-end solution today, right? Everything's falling apart or they're spending way too much money trying to integrate all these things and get a single set of reporting, a single pane of glass, view on that contact center and UC and back office. And these days, I think we're all kind of lacking in some visibility into what are we doing with these meetings platforms. It's not odd to jump into an organization and see 3 or 4 different departments all using a different sort of meetings platform to do all their remote work. I guess for us, we we take it either way. Either take a little bit and grow into it, or let's try and do a big bang approach and replace everything. But I think the holy grail, especially in that small to medium business market, is try and get everything from one place at one time if you can.
Okay, so I'm going to put you on the spot. What's worse, old legacy tech or disparate applications?
What's worse? You'd have to ask. Our customers. I think. I think they go hand in hand, right? To me, I think legacy tech is the biggest, I guess, roadblock to innovation, and to get us out of, I guess, the crisis room right now, having the ability to react in a pandemic or whatever the next critical situation is going to be. Legacy tech's always going to be your bottleneck there. I think once you're over there, when that's not a problem and you've got that sorted, the issues you get, I guess, in optimizing that customer experience, you really, I guess there's two areas you're going to fall down. It's either going to be very expensive to join all those applications together to give someone, say, a seamless journey when they come into your organization, or you're just going to be priced out of the market, and your competitors that can afford it are going to go and buy those best of breed point solutions for everything, right?
Okay, so I guess I just asked you the chicken or the egg question at the end of the day. That's what I did. Sorry about that. I could ask you which came first out of the two of them, but we haven't got time for that. And it's not on topic. So challenge number 3 that you named was centralised data-driven analytics.
Yeah, I think anyone that doesn't expect this these days, it's kind of a given, right? You're either going to someone that can do, your entire business end to end in terms of their communications needs, and I think it's a no-brainer to expect a sort of a centralized analytics platform to come with that. I guess for us, it's where we go, where I see we've hit a bit of a niche is, again, the analytics we're getting, not only in that contact center and that customer experience side of things. We've got some great visualizations with, what your IVR is doing, and what your speech analytics and text analytics is doing, what keywords should you be spotting. All that sort of stuff's cool and funky, and there's quite a few people doing it. For us, I guess something that gets almost forgotten these days, but it's popping up as a bigger problem I'm experiencing anyway as a customer to a lot of the attendees that have been on here today. Audio quality in a remote working environment, right? I don't know if anyone else has experienced what I'm experiencing with COVID, but I've never rang so many contact centers than in the last 6 months. Whether it's I've sold my car because I don't need my car anymore, I've got to cancel my insurance, or whether it's all my travel plans fell through. Like for those first, few weeks when we realized everything was going downhill, I had to call everyone. One thing I've noticed is we kind of worried about audio quality back in sort of, the late 2000s. When we went voice over IP, audio quality was a big concern for everyone. Now it's kind of a given. Voice over IP is not new. We're all using FaceTime and this and that. What's happening, though, is we've sent all these people home, either in Australia or abroad, and expected, we're in 2020, the internet should work. And no one's really owning that audio quality sort of analytics piece. At 8x8, we really that was our bread and butter before we, sort of grew the platform into everything else. So not only do we have a great analytics platform for all that sort of contact center customer-centric data, but we have a great set of tools to actually see, what is Barry using at home? Why are we getting really poor NPS scores from every time someone talks to them? Okay, he's using this laptop. He's connected to a Wi-Fi signal. We can see the geolocation data. For me, that was kind of eye-opening and something I almost forgot about, having the ability to really dig into that kind of data. Because these days, I think no one owns that problem, right? It's Barry's ISP. It's Barry's Wi-Fi. IT don't want to own it. Yet the contact center manager is bearing the brunt of, poor NPS scores because they got transferred around the place when there was terrible audio, when, someone's sitting on a laptop with kids playing games and stuff on their broadband NBN at home. So for me, that was really cool, having all that stuff tie into the story. And again, the meeting analytics, we get some really cool data on who's joining these meetings and where are they sitting, and, packet loss and all this. I'm a bit of a geek, so I like the technology stuff behind all that. So I don't know if I answered your question there, but analytics end to end is the holy grail for me, and it's nice working somewhere that can deliver it.
You almost went big brother on me, Brad, but I'm glad you pulled back. That's good. I'm a social butterfly, and maybe this challenge number 4 kind of fits with that, which was social channels.
Yeah. Again, I think everyone out there is, if you don't have a sort of social channel coming into your contact center these days, I think you've bought the wrong solution, right? What we're seeing a big uptick for is those messaging applications now. So, bringing WhatsApp, communication into your contact center. We've had Facebook, we've had Twitter, we've had the sort of the standard stuff for years now. But, seeing all these sort of, not so much niche anymore, chat apps, and being able to route those along with, I guess, web chat from, any platform. I don't think that's anything new. Tying SMS into that and, having those sort of asynchronous chats with your customers. I think it's been, again, an odd experience for me as a customer. I'm always on the other side, I guess, of the fence, telling people this is how the technology works and this is how we service your customers. And let's look at the data. Now that I'm interacting with so many contact centers, I was somewhat of a digital native before. So I was on the internet in, 1994, 1995. Long story there. I was bulletin boards before that. But I would always rather come into an organization via a digital channel. You expect it these days. We always heard for the last few years, millennials expect it. If you don't offer this, you're going to lose that part of the market. What I found in COVID, and I don't know what everyone else thinks on the call today, but the digital channels, I just didn't get a response during COVID, right? During a crisis, everyone picks up the phone again, is what I found. And that was the only way I could get results, right? It's picking up the phone. I think in a crisis, the voices goes back to being, the king that it was, in the 80s and 90s. But for us, it's twofolds for social, right? It's getting your customers into your organization via social channels. And we are using so many different applications to be social sort of animals, within the organization. I know you had a session on the culture of sort of working from home. At 8x8, we sell a piece of technology that actually aggregates all those different sort of chat apps together within your organization. So you can sit in one chat app, someone else can be, say, in Slack or in Teams or in something else, and we can pass those messages along the different unified communication chat applications. So we're doing that inside the business for the employee side of things, as well as, I guess, offering those chat channels to people coming into the contact center.
Okay, so you gave me 4 challenges, which was old legacy tech, disparate applications, centralized data-driven analytics, and social channels. So now I'm really going to ask a hard question. Do you have any examples of customers, and remember your secret is safe with me, whereby you've been able to solve some of those challenges?
Yeah, look, dozens. There's quite a few case studies on our websites. Everyone can go and find that information out for themselves and not trust me. Our marketing guys do a great job. One that I'm dealing with right now, again, I've been here 6 months, joined right at the height of this sort of COVID pandemic. So although I'm still getting to know our customers and still getting to uncover what challenges they're trying to solve next and what did we solve there, to me, the most recent one is one I'm working on right now, still working on a sort of phase 2 and beyond, who has, I said, gone down the 8x8 path to, essentially meet all of those needs, and almost in order of what we kind of went through today. The disparate, the legacy stuff was the driver. Everyone went home, huge workforce of contact center agents in Manila, offices all around the globe. Everyone went home. The old legacy tech couldn't really handle it. And they were getting, a lot of audio issues. Certain countries, public internet is not, up to speed. So we went in there in a sort of proof of concept stage, really focused on the audio quality to begin with and making sure these agents at home had everything sorted to give the best, experience for the customers calling into those contact centers. So that was, the urgency was replacing that legacy, unified communication system. We've done that. We came out of the proof of concept. It was really eye-opening to see how quickly and I guess how well oiled the proof of concept machine is at 8x8. Going from a proof of concept to a production system, we're talking sort of 3 weeks and we're taking live calls. We're taking live calls in the proof of concept, but we scaled that right up within about 3 weeks, taking that whole contact center, who were taking calls all around the world. And we're doing the carriage and the inbound phone numbers in about, I think, 15 countries right now. Their next phase is getting rid of some of those disparate applications, what they're using for web chat, some of their sort of digital channels, and bringing that into the solution is next phase. Their BI team is already pulling apart the out-of-the-box data and interrogating what we could do via APIs to meet their needs. So it's kind of a journey. They're starting with the most compelling event, COVID, and forcing a change to that legacy tech. And then, they've seen the journey of, we were on a call last night, and I think their CIO is looking at a 2-year journey before they're fully ready and to take on the advantage of, say, the speech analytics and text analytics stuff. That was really interesting. It's been a really interesting project to see just the pace that it's gone at, and to see the problems that we've been able to solve pretty quickly.
Yeah, I like the positive. What can you help people to resolve, and the positive outcomes? I think that's really important. So you've got several customers on board that are dealing with all of these challenges, and you've shared the CIO's journey with this particular organisation, which is really to move into the analytics. So do you have any sense or any insights into upcoming technology trends or business requirements that are going to propel either this organisation or another organisation who you may or may not name, because your secret is safe with me, as you take them to the next level?
Yeah, look, again, I'm a bit of a geek, so and I think a few of your speakers would have touched on some of the technology and advances. Everyone, I guess, in my realm wants to speak about artificial intelligence and machine learning, and what that's all going to do to change our lives. The Google Contact Center AI stuff was sort of amazing, and the natural language processing stuff that we all started hearing about a couple of years ago. And again, we're no different. We're developing integrations into Google Contact Center AI, and we've got right now stuff that you can buy to do your natural language processing with, say, Google or Amazon. So although that stuff is kind of, I guess, still not really here yet in its full maturity, it is exciting, and I think that's still a new trend we're really got to explore a bit more. It's got a long way to go in its maturity, I think. For me, some of the interesting stuff is going to be what AI is going to do for sort of predictive analytics in that customer service type capacity. So right now, I guess there's a social documentary on Netflix right now. You can watch that and get scared to death on how great we've become at predicting what you want before you know you want it to sell you something. The agent assist stuff and tying all that sort of predictive analytics smarts into, say, knowledge-based searches and getting AI to start complementing customer service, as importantly as it's being used to figure out how to sell us more stuff. I think that's going to be a really interesting thing to see unfold in that, customer service contact center space. So that's what I'm kind of excited about. I'm sorry to give a boring answer and probably make that about, AI like everyone else seems to say these days to answer that question. But it is interesting to a geek.
Look, I think it's interesting in a contact center perspective as well, because the myth has been that AI is all about taking away contact center roles. The reality is it's complementary, supplementary, and really all about creating a better all-round experience. I would imagine that you would agree that the human touch is still critical in all of these things.
100%. And I think, look, the human touch, I don't know how everyone's chatbot experience is, right? Chatbots were the first wave of this AI is going to come into the contact center and change our lives and give, save agents time and give unbelievable benefits. And I think some implementations are doing that. I've chatted to a chatbot several times in the last fortnight. Still a ways to go, in my opinion, but it's the first, hurdle that we've got to get past. So I think, for me, that not having that human touch, I think one thing COVID's taught us, right? We're social creatures. We need to see and feel and have video interactions. So I don't think we're ever going to lose that human touch. I think, we're going to, have these pieces of AI, save 10 minutes searching through a knowledge base article, figure out that, based on these keywords and this and that, this is what we think the problem that they're trying to solve. And having that agent QA that rather than what's happening now is we're spitting up, 3 or 4 things going, is this what you were trying to tell us? Because we're, a piece of AI that's about as good as a 6-year-old at the moment. So look, I don't think it's going to. I think it's going to vastly improve our NPS scores out there if we do it right, if we implement it in the right way. But and I guess going on human touch, I can see more and more. It was always this vision, probably for the last 10 years, video in the contact center. When are we getting video in the contact center? And HR and all these other issues came about. We used to work for a customer in the medical field. That how do you prevent someone from seeing something that they could be traumatic in a video sense? I think COVID's kind of, like many things, pushed us over that edge, and it's like, you know what, we can handle video now, guys. So I think that's going to, I guess, raise its head again as a need moving forward. The contact centers are going to want to start video coming in as an interaction again. And we've got a video platform as a service offering, as well as the other stuff that you can basically embed the video stuff inside your own stuff and make it look like it's customer branded video, not another company's. So that'll be interesting to see the growth in that. We're getting a big uptick in the US and in the UK for that now. So we're getting a lot of inquiries daily about it here. So it'll be interesting to see where that goes.
Yeah, absolutely. And, maybe 5+ years ago, video was what's coming, what you've got to do next. And a lot of people would say things like, I've got a great head for a contact centre. Well, you do. Absolutely. We're all human. And I love seeing, what I've loved about COVID, I guess, is actually seeing the humanity of people and really understanding who they are and what makes them as that one wonderful person that they are. Oh, we got one more question, and this is a test for you, Brad.
Okay.
Okay, so get ready for the test. So what is the key takeaway from this session? If you can only take one thing, what would it be?
If you can only take one thing. Look, for me, with my spruiking hat on, if you need any assistance managing communications end to end, check us out and have a chat to us. It's a wide ranging scope of the sort of markets that 8x8's serving, from just standard back office, 5 phones in an office, to thousands of agents in countries around the world. So check us out. I'll give you one more takeaway from a customer panel I was on the other night. Nothing to do with contact centers or anything else, but I think it's a cool takeaway. Works in the logistic business. And he said, one takeaway that you should take from meeting me today is there is a worldwide shortage of containers right now. So if you want your presents to turn up for Christmas, you need to order them now. Nothing to do with my work, nothing to do with communications. One takeaway I want from my meeting yesterday: start ordering your Christmas presents.
That's because they've all fallen off shifts off the coast, east coast of Australia. Possibly. What your former statement as opposed to your latter recommendation, you can spruik, and that's great, but I'm going to ask why.
Why? Some context. Why should I spruik? Well,
No, not why should you spruik. Why is that your one recommendation?
Because I think it can be a complicated world to get into. It can be, there's so much out there in the market and specialists in every field. And look, we don't do it all. We do a fair chunk, and I'd like to think we're pretty honest in terms of that's above and beyond us. Let's, bring in this partner or go talk to those guys. But I think in terms of trying to deal with this sort of pandemic, so many things are becoming critical at once. One of the reasons I came over here was, they ticked a lot of boxes in terms of, you've got a remote workforce, great, we've got a thing for that. You've got offices in 4 countries and you only want to deal with one carrier rather than a carrier in every country, great, come on, we can sort that headache out for you. You want to turn on contact center, great. You want to play with speech analytics. There was no sort of, there's an extra cost for that, to professional services, and we need to configure stuff. It was lent itself very well to, have a trial, play with the stuff for 2 weeks to a month. And if you like it, great, let's talk. If not, cool, move along. I've been waiting probably for the last 10 years to work for a place that actually had a really cool try before you buy type, contact center and UC sort of option. So look, I think it's, I think we can solve a lot of problems in the kind of, emergency and critical time sensitive situation that everyone seems to be in right now.
Fantastic. Well, Brad, you can probably turn the fire off now, because I don't want to be sitting here glowing in the embers of the virtual fire that we're seeing. Thank you for warming us all up and sharing your expertise for those 4 challenges. And thanks again to our National Silver sponsor, 8x8, for bringing you to us.